Uday Kumar is now the Honorary Director for the Bangalore Inscriptions 3D Digital Conservation Project of Mythics Society. We welcome you, sir, for today's talk.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now you may proceed with your talk.
All right. So, thanks very much for the opportunity, and I'm always so happy to talk to students and anyone who is willing to listen and learn what we practice in our project. So today's talk is actually a lecture demonstration. It's not so much a talk. So I will be showing a lot of things. You can also simultaneously follow what I'm doing on your computer screens or phone screens to some extent, but don't get lost in it. It's still possible for you to do it if you wish to do it. So the methods that I'm going to be talking about today and showing you are all methods that we use in our project, the Bengaluru Inscriptions 3D Digital Conservation Project of Mythics Society. So in this project, what we are trying to do is essentially, first and foremost, make sure the 1,500 inscriptions in our project area, which is 3 districts of Bangalore, urban, rural, and Ramnagara, are safe and secure in multiple ways. One is physically we help conserve them, secure them. And the second is we also do digital conservation of those. We build very high resolution digital models, and then we use them for studying, and we share the information with the world. So all the tools and techniques that I'm going to be showing you today are techniques that we use in our project every day, and it's been tested thousands of times over. So this is not an academic talk. It's a talk which is based on a lot of experience and thorough testing. And what I would really, really want and like you all to do is also use the same tools and techniques in your own work. If it's just a hearing exercise, then all of this would be a waste. But multiple ways to use it, and hopefully you'll get some ideas. So this talk is going to be in English, but if at any point in time you want me to also speak in Kannada, I'll be very happy to do that. So let me first start with a simple talk about inscriptions itself. What are inscriptions, and what's the big deal? Why are we kind of making so much of noise about this? Some of you may have seen inscriptions. Some of you may not have seen inscriptions. What you should be seeing on your screens now is a software with a lot of with an yellow object on it. Do you see the same thing?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, yes. All right. So, because I'm talking modern methods, I will kind of continue to show you mostly digital stuff today. What you are seeing on the screen is actually a inscription stone. And this inscription stone is, as you can see now, you should have seen some writing on this now, all right? So I'll make it a little bit more visible, and then so you'll see clearly the writing on something on what is actually, it's artificially colored, so it's not colored like as it is in a stone. Now this particular inscription is an inscription that everybody in the city of Bangalore, it's a population of about 1.25 crore people, should be familiar with and should know about, because on the 4th line here is the name Bengaluru written on it. This inscription is from 900 Common Era, which means this is about 1100 years old now. So what this stone is telling us is that Bengaluru existed 1100 years ago. And this inscription is in a temple at Begur, which is less known, but everybody would have heard of Silk Board. So this is very close to Silk Board Junction in Bangalore. What it is saying is essentially 2 people died in the Bengaluru battle. All inscriptions are of this nature. They carry some written piece of inscription or a written piece of information about something that happened in that location. So it could be Gauribidnor, it could be Mysore, it could be Bangalore, it could be Varanasi, it could be Assam, it could be any place. These inscriptions are there in every nook and corner of the country, and they're there in hundreds and thousands, actually. So these are written records of some significant event in the past. So the event could be a simple thing like building a lake, building a temple, building a village, building a town, or somebody dying a martyr's death in battle, and so on and so forth. So essentially, we know what happened in the past thanks to these writings from the past. Okay. So what I'm going to be showing you today is essentially how do we work in with these inscriptions and get information out of it quickly and fastly using modern methods. So the first one that I'm going to be showing, most inscriptions are dated on the basis of what is written. And you should be seeing now a page, it's actually a Wikimedia page, with some text highlighted in blue. Are you able to see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Very good. So this is information that's taken from an inscription stone in the Ranganath Swami temple here in Balepete in Bangalore. And this is considered an important inscription for lots of reasons. Anyway, we're not going to the details of that. But we know on the stone, it is written that the inscription was written on 1549, Prabhava Samvatsara, Magha Masa, Shukla Paksha, 13th day of Shukla Paksha, and which was a Sunday is what it says. All right. Now, this date is in the Indian calendar system. Now, how do we make out what is the date in the modern system that we follow, which is the Gregorian system? The date corresponds to 17 February 1628. How do we do this quickly? There's many ways to do this. The old-fashioned way of doing it is, the very old-fashioned way of doing it is that there was a book written sometime in the 1920s called the Indian Ephemeris. And you open that book, it's actually in multiple volumes, 10 or 12 volumes. You open a certain volume, you look up a part, so year 1549 in that, find, Magha Masa in that, then, what is Shukla Paksha and all of that. And then that book will give you the modern date. But there's many other faster and elegant ways of doing it. And one of that is, I'll show 2 ways of doing it today. One of that is using a mobile application. What you're seeing on the screen is my mobile phone screen. Okay. So there is this app called the Indo Calendar. If you haven't, if you want to install it, all you have to do is go to the Play Store, search for an app called the Indo Calendar. You can do this as we speak if you want. And there are many apps that come up there. This is the one that I'm going to be demonstrating today. Okay. It has a swastika mark in that. And this is the mobile app that I'll be using today. These apps, they serve multiple purposes. Some of them are just simply used for astronomical calculations and things like that. Visualization of astronomical events as well. Some are also based on astrology. Indian astrology obviously will use the Indian calendar system. So it becomes very easy to use that. So when I open this app, which is what I did just now, it's telling me that today, 25th March 2023 at 3:14 p.m. in the Indian calendar system or in the calendar system that I've set it up for in Bangalore. Calendars also vary from region to region. What we do in follow in Karnataka is different from what is in Tamil Nadu, is different from West Bengal, is different from, say, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and all those places. So by default, you may not get the same screen because it needs to be configured for Bangalore, which I've already done. But it's essentially telling me that today it's the Chaturthi Shukla Paksha Chaitra Masa and 1945 of the Saka Samvatsara. Right. So it's as simple as that. Any day I want, this is a very commonly followed even today. in religious events all the time, or it could be a simple archana in your temple. The date mentioned is in the Indian calendar system one. All religious events, the dates are always in the Indian calendar system, which is astrology, obviously horoscopes and all of those are cast in the Indian calendar system. So it's very commonly used even today in very specific situations, in very specific circumstances. Generally, for common use, we do not use this. We use what is called as the Gregorian system, which is a Roman system, as per that, which is the 25th of March, 2023. Okay, so it's very simple. All I have to do is, let's say I click on Panchang there. And when I open the Panchang, it gives me in detail. This is the date. Where am I? And Bangalore. It changes by date, right? By location as well. It says Chaturthi Shukla Paksha Chaitra Masa. And if I scroll down in this, there's a lot of information, and I'm just going to show you a little bit, which Samvatsara is this? In the Shobhakruta Samvatsara. As you probably all know, in the Indian calendar system, we not only use the year, numerical year, which is 1945. Shaka is the era. So just like I said, Christian common era is CE. So it's 1945 Shaka era, Shobhakrutu Samvatsara. This is in the Indian system, we don't only use numbers, we also use names. So there's a cycle of there's 60 Samvatsaras with 60 names, and we cycle through that continually, every time the cycle exhausts. So until a couple of days back, we were in Shobhakrutu, and suddenly when we changed the year, we became Shobhakrutu. Okay. There's more information which I will skip here. So it says today is Chaturthi. The Paksha is a fortnight, which is a Shukla Paksha, and the Masa is a Chaitra Masa. So there are two systems in India that we use here. Amavasya, one is called Amavasyanta and the Purnimanta. So in Bangalore, and mostly in southern India, we use this. So Chaitra Masa. Okay. So simple. And now if I want another date, all I do is click on this. And then I change the date. Whatever date I give there, let's say I give some date. Let's say I started 01. 2023. What was as per the Indian calendar system? What is the new year of the Gregorian area supposed to be? It was a Dashmi, it was Shukla Paksha, Osha Masa, 1944 Saka Samvatsara. Right? So we do exactly this when we want to translate from inscriptions. So let me take this one. Here it says, I'm just going to play the game here. I already did it, but I'm going to reverse it a little bit here. 17 February 1628. Let's see what it corresponds to. 17 February 1528. (1702) 1528. I think it was a different format. Month 02 17 1528. And there you go. What am I supposed to see? Prabhava Maga Shukla. Am I seeing 1528? I'm sorry. 1628. Okay. Magamasa, Shukla Paksha, Dwadashi is the second, this one there. And the year I should be seeing is 1549 Saka Samvatsara. That is exactly what was given in the inscription as well. All right. So the multiple ways, what I did was just to prove to you that this date is accurate. I went that way, but there's multiple ways to get to this. Easiest way is 1549 plus 78 will give you the year. Okay, so start with your date as 1628. And Magamasa is corresponding usually to February, Jan, Feb, March, or periods like that. So do that and put an arbitrary number. I'll do the same thing again just for you to, there's more precise ways. So let's say I said 1628, February 1. What does it come to? It came to Ekadashi, Krishna Paksha, and Pausha Masha in this one. So I just keep going forward a little bit. Let me see where I'm coming to when it matches my inscription date. Dashami, Ekadashi, Dvadashi, Trayodashi. There you go. It should have been 17th February. I got it. So there is no matching. I came to Trayodashi, Shukla Paksha, Magha Prabha 1539. And that's exactly where I am, 1549.
If you wish to have questions at the end, or Uday, would you like to allow him? Is any relevance is there? We can check with him and allow. Murugeshi T. If you have any relevant to this one, you can ask.
Yes.
At the end, you can take. Murugesh, I'll just unmute. Give me a second.
Yes, sir. What's your question?
I'll just unmute him, sir.
Yeah.
If it is relevant to current one, we will take it up. If it is general, can you unmute Murugeshi T? I have unmuted you, please.
Yes, sir. I am unmute.
No, if it is a question relevant to this, we will take up. Otherwise, let the flow of talk continue. At the end, you can have a question.
I have a relevant question.
Please go ahead.
Please ask, sir. I think, Uday, there is some issue at that end. We can proceed the talk. We can take it up. Uday, you can proceed, Uday. We'll take it up. Maybe.
Okay, all right. So, so what I did just now is, this is the date given in the inscription. Okay, 1549, Sakayara, Prabhava, Samvatsara, Maghamasha, Shukla Paksha, Trayodashi, 13. And that's exactly what I showed you, how to calculate, how to arrive at in terms of the modern Gregorian calendar. So simple, isn't it? You can use a mobile phone, any date that you want. You can very quickly use this app, the Hindu calendar. Let me go back and show you that calendar. This is the app, Alok Mandavagne's Hindu calendar. You can install it. It'll take a little bit of trial, exercise from you to figure it all out. By default, it will give all the dates in the Gregorian calendar for any date that is in the Julian calendar, okay, which is before 78 or something. All you have to do is just reduce by 10 days. This one is limited and it doesn't show you the difference between Gregorian, Julian, and all that. You minus 10 days and then you have got it. So it doesn't matter if I change I can also use this for dates in, let's say, 13th century. Say for arbitrarily, let me say 1325. Okay. It's telling me it's Pratama Shukla, Chaitra Masa, and Pramoduta, Samvatsara. But this is giving me in the Gregorian. For Julian, I just reduce it by 10. So Pratama, so which means it goes back to Krishna Paksha, and then I'll have to get to the 15 minus 10, which is 5 plus 1, 6. So it'll be Bahula Krishna Paksha 6 in the Masa, whatever it is, and then I'll get it so easily. Okay.
There is a short question whether Adhika Masa is considered. You can answer if it is relevant here.
So Kshaya, Adhika, all of those are automatically taken care of by the software. You don't need to worry about it. It will show you here Adhika when it's giving the name, it will tell you Adhika. What if it is, let's say Chaitra, Adhika Chaitra, then it'll show you what Chaitra is it talking. You don't have to worry about any one of that. It'll automatically take care of all those calculations. So I'm not going to be going into what is an Adhika Masa or all of those things. But if you just want a simple way to arrive at a modern date from an Indian calendar system date, this is a great app to use on your mobile phone itself. Okay.
There is a reverse question whether from other like knowing the Hindu calendar and getting the English, that is a question there. You can
That's
answer
what I
that.
did just now. So that's what I did just now. I showed both of those. So what I did was, let's
One more thing.
yeah, I'll just add this, answer that question. So 1549 in the Shaka era converts straightforward into 1549 plus 78, okay, which is 1628, 1627 in the Gregorian calendar system. Use that as the start date. And then you should know a little bit about this as well. Magha Masa corresponds to what? February, March, Jan. Some other Masa, let's say, coming up August, what this one month is it in Indian calendar system? Start with that date. Start with something which you know. What I did in this case was, I said 1629, if I'm right. 1628. Okay. And then I said February 1st. And then I kept just clicking for next year until I came to what should I come to? Prabhava Magha Shukla Trayodashi. Okay. So what am I coming here now? My 1549 is correct. My Prabhava Samvatsara is correct. My Magha Masa is also correct. I'm at Ekadashi now. So what do? I keep going forward, clicking on the right here. Second, third, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shukla Paksha. Okay, I'm sorry. What was I supposed to do here? Shukla Paksha 13. Trayodashi. There you go. That's what I wanted, and I got that. Okay, I started with the Indian calendar system. I came to the Gregorian calendar system or the modern calendar system. Okay. You can do a very precise way also, which I've skipped now, but I'm assuming that you have a little bit of the Indian calendar system, which Masa in the Indian calendar system corresponds to which in the the Gregorian calendar system. I know that, in this case, Magh Masa corresponds typically to February, and, I'm starting like that, and then I'm moving. Answer your question?
I think you proceed. It is answered. It's written in the messages. Please proceed.
Okay. All right. Great. So I'll show one more tool, which is even more effective than this. That's called as the Jagannath Torah. Again, this is a purely an astrological tool. If you can also download this from, it's called the Jagannath Torah. You can download this. It's a free software. All the software that I'm showing you today are free, and install it on Windows 11 or whatever else you want. And again, there's a bit of configuration for the place, etc., etc., etc. Okay. What I'm going to be doing in this case is then leading into the next topic about eclipses, verifying whether an eclipse happened in a place. So I'm going to be using a date. That's actually a date from an Bangalore inscription at Kodigehalli. Okay. So in this, it's 1353, Virodhi Krutu Bhadrapada Shuna, or Bhola 30, as it is given here. Okay. So what I do here is, this is an astrology software. So you're supposed to give the birth date. So, and that'll give you the modern thing. So I say birth data. And again, I'll use some amount of calculation. Straight again, like I did here, 1431, 1353 plus 78. 78 is essentially when the Shaka era starts. So in Shaka year 1353 corresponds to 1353 plus 78 in our current Gregorian system. That's my starting point. Okay. And then again, I know Shravana Masa means typically August, September. So I take a date of September 1 or 2 or whatever you want. And then Bahula 30. Let me see what it corresponds to. And then from there, I will proceed. This is the one, right? So I'll say August 1. So the corresponding year was 1353 plus 78. So let me say it's 1431. In this case, I'm working in the Julian. So I'll keep it at Julian. And the place I'm doing it this for, this is the birth time, etc., etc. It doesn't matter. I can adjust all this later. I'm looking for this information in the city of Bangalore, search for it, and then say, okay. And automatically my software will tell me that August 1st, 1431 corresponds to Virodhi Krutu Shravana Masa Krishna Ashtami, and it was a Tuesday. Okay, which is not what I'm looking for. So I'll move this out of the way a little bit. Yeah, right. And maybe keep it somewhere else. All right. So here's a way to move to, what should I move to? I should get to Bahula 30, right? So what I'll do is I'll keep advancing my birth date one day at a time. And today, right now, I am in Krishna Ashtami. Bahula 30 is essentially 15th day of the Krishna Paksha. There's another way of writing the same. Navami, Dashami. Please look at this. Krishna Ekadashi. Okay. Dwadasi, Trayodashi, Chaturdashi, and I'm here at Amavasya, which is Bahula 30. So the year I'm looking for now corresponds. So I started with, say, August 1st as a guess, and then I worked up 7 days to come to the date that is given on the inscription, which is Virodhi Krutu Samvatsara Shravana Masa Bahula 30 in the year 1353, which corresponds in the Gregorian system to August 8, 1431. Both in the mobile app as well as here, I make a guess and say, look, it should be around August something. And from there, I keep advancing a day at a time or as many days as I want and reach the date that is actually given in the inscription. Okay, so it takes what, like I think a few seconds if you learn this method with the software. It won't take more than a few seconds to get to the number, to the day, exact date. Unlike in in Indian ephemeris or somewhere else where you have to open millions of pages and volumes, and most times you find that is also wrong. It's not. It was built in a different era in a different time using different algorithms, so it's wrong. Now this is an exact date. Okay, so this is supposed to be a Thursday. If I advance the time, it will come to a Thursday as well. Now, the uniqueness about this is, Kodigalli inscription is that it is a mention of a donation to a temple on the day of a solar eclipse. So the general belief is that if you make donations on days of eclipse, then you accumulate more punya. So a lot of inscriptional records are actually records of eclipse days at that location. And there are also instances where we learned from that inscription that people were aware of eclipses happening in that location. So in this case, we arrived at this date. Where was that? It's actually not 7th, it's 8th September. Sorry, this date is given wrong. So the actual date is August 8, 1431. So at Kodigalli in Bangalore, which is on Ballari Road, they celebrated a solar eclipse on 8th of August, 1431. How do we know it was an eclipse day or not? It's quite possible that, they got it wrong, right? It's also a reflection of the quality of Indian astronomy at that time. How evolved or how good was Indian astronomy that they were able to predict there would be an eclipse at Kodigalli on August 8, 1431. Those people who do know astronomy know that, yeah, they did have a capability to do it. But eclipses, whether you use the Indian methods or whether you use the Western methods, the times change from place to place. Typically, eclipses are also mentioned in Greenwich Mean Time or something like that. The formulas for eclipse calculations are mean. Same with Indian astronomical methods as well. Very often in inscriptions, eclipse dates are wrong. Sometimes they're right, most times they're right, sometimes they're wrong. They are wrong, one, because not that, the fellow was celebrating it was bluffing or anything, because the sutra or the formula that is used for understanding when an eclipse happens in the Indian astronomical methods is usually uses Ujjain as a base. Just like we use Greenwich as a base for time today, Ujjain was a base for almost all astronomical calculations. So the priest or whoever, or the Panchanga maker or whoever it was at Kodigehalli or in this region, should have made a correction to the Ujjain time and date to get it correctly here. So sometimes, they would miss out on the correction formula or the sutra, and they would be celebrating an eclipse in for a time and play, look a date which actually is intended for some other place. Let's check. How do we check if an eclipse happened in August 8, 1431 at Kodigehalli? Very simple. You don't have to do anything. There's a beautiful little yes. So NASA has done some wonderful work of building something called the 5 million catalog of solar eclipse and lunar eclipses. I'm showing you the solar eclipse part here. For 5,000 years from minus 1999 to plus 3,000, they have listed out every single eclipse that has happened in the world, each century by century. They're saying, in this century, there were 239 eclipses. These were partial, these were annular, total, all of those kind of things. So now what are we trying to do? We are trying to find if there was an eclipse at 1431. So I click on this, 1401 to 1500. It'll lead me to another page. In that page, it'll tell me that year by year, it's giving me all of those. 1431, August 8 was the date I calculated. Was there a solar eclipse? Yes, there was. Okay. Let's see. So it did happen. These times are all not Indian time, so they give some other times. So factually, it is correct that there was an eclipse that day. Now what we need to do is, did that eclipse occur, or was it visible from Bangalore in Kodigehalli? That's all we need to do. Okay. So for a fact, we know there was an eclipse. So what I will do is, there's another tool for that. And this is a beautiful tool which allows me to visualize eclipses. Okay. So I've already set it up. So I'll share the links with you on the chat box as well soon. While it's happening, let me share it on the chat box. Okay. So to see the page that I am seeing, please use this link. Play around, you will see how to pick for a different date and all that. So what it is telling me is the date 8th August, 1431, showing me where that eclipse was visible from. Let me zoom out a little bit. Why is it not showing this? One second. Okay. Actually, it shows the path and all that as well. Right. So let me reshare this link. Okay, I'll get back this. So essentially, this screen is cluttering it up. Right. So what's it showing in the map here is, this is the path for the total solar eclipse. Everywhere else, it's a partial eclipse. And as you can see, the green here, and what I'm showing you here is actually Kodigehalli. So this region within green will witness a partial solar eclipse on 8th August 1431. Okay. So let me click on that location, which is approximately, not say Gauribidnur, but Bangalore. So the area we are looking at approximately is, not going to get very precise about it, doesn't matter. Let's say here. Yes, there was a solar eclipse on 8/8/1431. It started at 7:31 in the morning. and then completed or finished at 10:51. So maximum eclipse coverage was at 8:47. Actually, and I'm not going to be talking about it here. There is there are Indian astronomers who are given exact sutras for calculating the duration, onset, all of that as well. The Kerala astronomers, many of them, and you can use that to find if the formula that was used by the Panchanga or the maker in Kodigehalli actually got the time right, and how precise or how wrong it was. So if you did that calculation, which, if I go back to my Facebook page, I've given this in an elaborate way. I've discussed this extensively. As per our, there's a Kerala astronomer called Parameshwara who gives a sutra for calculating solar eclipse durations, times, and all that. So if you use the Parameshwara sutra for Kodigehalli, you'll find that the duration he gives is off. I'm sorry, the time of the eclipse is off by 2 minutes. So that's how accurate Indian methods were as well. Anyway, that's a digression, but I just wanted to tell you that. So what I have done here is I used the Jagannath Torah to arrive at Gregorian calendar system from the inscription date as it was given. And then I went to the NASA Atlas, which gave me a date of 8 August 1431. There was an eclipse. And then I checked if that eclipse happened in Kodigehalli. All right. So that's how you use. It took me what? Like it took me 20 minutes maybe to explain to you. But if I were doing it, or if you were doing it, you probably need a minute or two to do it. That's about all. Many eclipse records are also wrong. Okay. So how do you know they were right or wrong is what I just demonstrated to you today. Traditionally, hardly any way for you to verify the truthfulness of an inscription record of an eclipse. But here's a simple way to do it using modern technology. Any questions on this? I'll take it now. Okay, no questions, then I'll move on. The next tool I want to show you is again an app. So which we use in our project, right? So whenever you have to gather data, it could be any kind of data. It could be a census of trees. It could be a census of animals. It could be a census of people. It could be recording all kinds of information. It's very important to kind of log it properly and accurately, all right? Today, when somebody has to go identify inscriptions in a given region, they take a pen and a notepad and go around and recording details. I find PhD students and teachers doing all the same even today, when there are very, very beautiful ways of doing the same. So we use an app called EpiCollect. And again, this is something you can install from the Play Store. It's free. It's developed by the University of Oxford. It's used by all kinds of people, wildlife people and government people and all kinds of people to gather information. Now, inscriptions, like I said, there are plenty of them. Every village has many. Every town or city has hundreds. Every state has tens of thousands. The country has lakhs of them. So if you're doing a survey of, let's say, your taluk or your city or your district, how do you go and efficiently log this? So I'm just going to demonstrate one, which we use in our project today. It's a mobile app. So it's a simple questionnaire. All you have to do is say, okay, I'm in a particular project. You set up projects. I'm not going to show how to set up projects and all, but it's simple, plain English, creating the questionnaire, creating the projects and all of that. So in our project, we use this called as the Mythic Society 3D scanning project. Let's say I'm carrying this phone to a site. It could be Gauri Bidnoor, it could be anywhere. And there I discover an inscription or a hero stone or whatever. I'll say add an entry. Okay, and the question asked is, what's your name? Let's say my name is Uday. And then I do a next. So it keeps asking you a bunch of questions like this. Yeah. And then I keep answering it. That's all there is to that. and I'll take you through an example thing. Say, what's it next? What's the next question? At this, yeah, Uday, I get it. So what is today's date? It automatically picks up from the phone. Says today's date is this. Is that right? Yes, that is fine. I can edit it if I want. What is the time of the day? 3:44. Yeah, and where are you? The modern way of recording where you are is not by saying I am in, JC Nagar, 29th Cross, all that kind of stuff. You use GPS locations, unambiguous GPS locations. Here, I use the phone ability to record GPS coordinates. It gives me the latitude, longitude, etc., etc. I'm inside a building, so the accuracy is not so great. If I were outside, it'd be very nice. Then say, where are you? In your own words, now you start describing where you are. I'll say I'm in this district, or let's say let's say in Ramnagar district. Okay, in Ramnagar district, which taluk are you in? I'm in Magadi taluk. In Magadi taluk, which Gram Panchayat are you in? I'm in some Gram Panchayat. And in that Panchayat, which village are you in? I'm in this village. Okay, so I got exact information of who is where, at which time, in which location, and using administrative information, taluk, district, etc., etc., etc. It says log the where you are in your own. I'm in front of a temple, in front of, let's say, Mariamma temple. Okay, and then I say, okay, this is for our own thing. Is the inscription ready to scan? Yeah, I'm saying, does it require some work, etc., etc. A lot of questions. I say, yes, it's ready to scan today. And have they been already scanned or not scanned? I say, no, it's not scanned. Okay, add a video of where you are. I'll say, add a video, shoot it, use my own camera here to shoot it. So I'm shooting something just for fun. I'll do a video and then leave it off. So I got a video record of where I am. So I recorded a video of the object where I am, and then I go next, take what's the attitude of the people. So this is, I'm not going to walk through the entire thing. I'll quickly rush through this. Who are the people who should be touching for? What is the conservation status of this? Is it endangered or not in danger, etc., etc. Okay, a lot of questions. So this way, I'm just going to quit this for now because it's a long questionnaire that we have built. When I have logged like this, okay, and I upload it, the data goes automatically onto a server. Now, how does the data look? What is all this? What is the drama that I'm making here? I'll show you. This is our project. Okay, and this is the web desktop view of it. So if I say I want to show me the data, these are all the 1100 odd entries that our project team has done in various locations. And let me see the GIS view of it. This is the map view of it. Now, just imagine yourself in this situation. Okay, you have collected data of 1,000 objects geographically distributed. Okay, and now you want to visualize where they are, how they are, and all of that. So in one shot here, and the survey could be going on at this moment, the data will reflect that. It's showing me I have 1122 data records in some place. So as I keep zooming in, it'll get more precise. Shows me there are 21 in this location, 30 in this location, so on and so forth. Visualization becomes so easy, as you can see here. This is our project area. Okay, in this spread out area, we work from Chandpatna to, let's say, Devnalli on the border of Chikbalapur here. It's showing me I made 4 entries in this region. And I zoom in various places. Let's say this location, I want to see Sangapura. Sangapura, Madhusudan has been there on 22nd December. What time he was there and all of that. And then there'll also be photographs. So this is the place he visited, which I can play a video of and show you. So these are all inscription stones that are lying there, hero stones and inscription stones. So he essentially recorded at the spot a video, uploaded it, gave contact information of people there and all of that. And this is how we record data. We do field surveys today. We don't go running around with a notebook and a pen, and then 10 people will make notes, come back to their office or college or lab, and then compile it all together and then build reports of that and all that. Those are all obsolete days, obsolete ways of doing it. So in the last 2 years that we have been working, 1,122 objects have been surveyed by us in Bangalore, in Mysore, and a few surrounding places as well. Instantaneously, we get information about them. We can do analysis of this, and then we can work with the data as easily as this. I think this and this is free, very reliable too. Can't be a better way of gathering information or data. Whether you're logging temples, whether you're logging sculptures, whether you're logging trees, you can even use this book in a library to catalog and log books. You can use it for anything. And these are the kind of tools we should be using. We should be teaching our students to use as well. Okay. So this is about the little bit about the field survey part. And then what else do we do with this? We put it up. What I'm showing you right now is proprietary. We put it up on Google Maps. This is a Google map, and I'm showing you the admin view. So you can also go do that. Go access this map. Just type this bit.ly at inscription.blr. This address, and you'll see a similar map accessible for anyone. Okay, you can do that now, or you can do it later. So this map, let me do that actually to show you how it looks like. It's more or less the same map. This map is a map of inscription stones of Bangalore. That is the 3 districts that we operate in. These are the 1,500 inscription stones that are there. Okay, if you click on this, let me go to the preview mode, which is what you will be seeing. All right. So when I click on one of these icons, it shows me that this is Chikmarnalli, and it's an inscription on a boulder on an Anjaneya temple, the latitude, longitude of that, and all of that. In many cases, it will also give you the text of the inscription. Let me pick one. It's giving me the text of the inscription. You should be seeing the same one if you click generally here. The text of the inscription, which language is it in, who gave the photographs for this, and if there's multiple photographs, in this case, there's only one. You can show all that. And what I wanted to actually show you is this map has been used 281,000 times. You can write the information in this one graphical view here on a map is more than the information in B.L. Rice's 12-volume book set, Epigraphia Carnatica, which I presume will be over 10,000 pages. 10,000 pages of information on a book are on this map. And right now, you and I are both seeing it simultaneously. And we are seeing it in full glory, which is photographs, videos. If there's more than one photograph, multiple photographs, there's videos, text of the inscription, and all of that. So even today, and why am I showing you this? Even today, people publish articles in journals where they give the geographical location of an inscription as by the banyan tree in Ketmarnahalli. That's supposed to be the location of where the inscription is. In the 22nd century, when we are sent spacecraft outside and we communicate with that, I think there are more elegant ways of communicating today. We give the GPS coordinates, we put it up on a Google map, and then we load that the map with information like this. It says, the English translation is here. The Kannada transliteration is here. If there's Tamil, the Tamil information is here. And it doesn't matter whether you sit in Bangalore or whether you sit in Washington, D.C. or whether you're sitting in Tokyo. You could be joining this call from any one of those places. You will access the same map updated as it is today. Okay. Now, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't history students or archaeology students doing this? I have no idea. And I hope some of you will start doing this, seeing these things. Okay. And then I know the highlight of our project. Everybody wants to know what is this 3D scanning business. So I'll show you what we do there. So Right. So essentially what you're seeing on the screen now is a person looking down at a laptop facing a stone, right? So what we do, this is the way people read inscriptions traditionally or record inscriptions traditionally is they slap a wet paper on the stone and then using a brush, they kind of beat the paper into the grooves that are carved on the stone for writing. And then they use a cloth or something called no, I can't even remember the name. A dabber, which is coated with black ink, and then they kind of dab on the stone. That. So what that leaves is an impression of the writing on the stone on paper. This is how it's been done for 100 years. It's a terribly crude way. It was a great way 100 years ago. Today, it's a disappointing way to be recording information or any information. So what we do here is we use a three-dimensional scanner, and you'll see the person using it. In his hand, he is holding a small iron box kind of device. I will see. Okay. Wait. And we use it in all kinds of environments. This is actually a graveyard. The inscription is sitting in a graveyard, and battery powered. We are recording the no, we intended to show something else. Yeah. Right. So the small device that he's showing is actually a very sophisticated device. It has 8 cameras on that, and it uses lighting methods to kind of record the XYZ coordinates of everything on the stone into the laptop there. So essentially what we do is we sample that stone 1,000,000 times a second, and the XYZ coordinates of that surface are captured onto the captured. And then we use those XYZ coordinates to build surfaces and solids and all of that. So what we do is we don't use paper. We don't do 2-dimensional copies. We make 3-dimensional copies. And what you saw here is essentially the same way, this stone has been copied in 3 dimensions. Okay. So because we are working with a computer, we can use very sophisticated algorithms. So let me go back to the way it was. Right. So this is a 3-dimensional copy. It's 3-dimensional. So that's why I can zoom, pan, rotate, and all of that. And then I can use very sophisticated computer algorithms to help me with my visualization. What I'm doing now is shining a light, an artificial light on the object. You can see some faint marks here which indicate the writing on it. Okay, not very good. So what I will do is I'll change the algorithm, the rendering visualization algorithm, and I'll switch over to something called radiance scaling. And this is a software I'm using is called MeshLab. It's again a free software. And with the radiance scaling algorithm, things become slightly better. Right? It becomes so much more easier to read it and see it now. I can do even better. I can change the algorithm, and there you go, strip off the color, makes it so much more easier to read. The accuracy of this model is 0.05 microns, which means, which translating to something physical is about the thickness of a human hair. Anything which is as big or as small as a human hair on that stone is now in this dimension, in this computer model. Okay, so I have a precise model of this object now, digital model of this object now. And the beauty of it is I can use very sophisticated rendering algorithms to improve the visualization and make it very readable. So it's now extremely readable. If you were to go stand in front of the stone You can't see anything at all. If you took an estampage too, it would be a very poor quality, a paper imprint of this. It would be a very poor quality impression of what is on the stone. We are using modern technologies, sophisticated cameras and computational processing, image processing methods to make it much more easily readable, visualizable, and all of that. And the beauty of it is, I can share this model with all of you in real time right now. You can use it, you can play around, you can fool with it just like that, in your own desktops or phones as well. One of the biggest problems in the field of inscriptions today is inscriptions are getting destroyed. About 40% of already all known inscriptions are destroyed. So obviously you lost any record of that. Paper copies of that are with one organization called the Archaeological Survey of India, who themselves have not taken good care of it. And they don't release it to the public as easily as anybody would want. Now, when I share this with you instantaneously, wherever you are in the world, the knowledge of our country, of our village and our street is shared democratically with you in full glory. As simple as that. We ought to be using these kind of things. So what does this mean to a common man? This photo, we put it up on Wikimedia Commons. How you get there is very simple. Search for Wikimedia Commons. Okay, uploads by Mythic Society. That same photo is here. We colored the letters. This photo, until we released this, let's say 2 months back, was one of the most difficult photos to get. There were no imprints, very poor quality photographs, very poor quality reproductions of this. As of today, some 2,000 people have downloaded these photographs. They're using it in their publications. They're using it in research papers. One person has already given a rereading of this. This has been read by 4 or 5 people so far, but they all give their own readings without giving images. So it's your word against my word kind of a situation. But using this photograph, anybody can clearly see what's written there. They can substantiate it, they can argue about it and resolve it amicably without having to believe that man's 40-year experience, his reading is better than yours kind of a situation. Modern technology permits this, and it's freely accessible by anyone. This is the Halmidi inscription. I just want to show you a photograph of that. Supposed to be the first inscription in with Kannada words in it. This is sitting in the museum, not accessible to the common man. Very high resolution digital images we have shared on Wikimedia Commons. Wikimedia Commons is the digital sharing mechanism for people across the world. No point in putting it up in the Journal of Epigraphy, Indian Epigraphy somewhere, and then let it rot in a library. Nobody's going to be using that. This photograph has been downloaded, I don't know how many thousand times so far now, being studied, being researched, and being published. So modern methods also mean modern methods of publication. Somebody doesn't like that statement. Okay. All right. So essentially, to go back, and I think we are already at 14:02. I'll take questions, but to summarize what I have shown you so far, this is what I had planned to show you. I showed you how we convert dates from Indian calendar system to the Gregorian system that we follow today in 2 situations, using a mobile phone and an app on a mobile phone called the Indo Calendar, and a desktop application called Jagannath Torah. You can download these freely from the web as well. And then I showed how we can convert or verify dates that are supposed to be dates on which eclipses occurred using a NASA 5 millennium catalog of eclipses and visualizing it graphically. This is more or less, I would say, unknown to the scholars' world. They don't know how to verify that, to take their words and they have to live it. But today, you and I, who probably are not astronomers or not even historians or anything like that, can accurately verify the truthfulness of an inscription record in terms of its claim to an eclipse on a certain day at a certain location. Right, good. And then the third point I showed you was how we use a tool called EpiCollect 5 to gather data in the thousands and the lakhs and the millions if you want. Very easily, modern way, how you can capture data, high quality data with audio, video, GPS, all of that, and then analyze it very rapidly. How many in a certain location, on what day, and all of those kind of things as well. This one, how we share information on Google Maps with the world. Publishing in a book is one way. Publishing it freely or in a graphical way using maps to the public is totally different. And how we do it in a project and how we believe it should be done by everyone else as well. Yeah. Researching piece, I didn't show you very much, but I'll just show you quickly what I meant when I said there. Let me find out all the inscriptions which are related to lakes. Okay. And then it shows me there are these list of inscriptions. If I had to go and look up in the Epigraphia Carnatica or Epigraphia Indica and all that, it would be a nightmare. I had to go through thousands of pages and all that. Now I want to know show me all the temple related thing. Highlight them on the map. It will show me on the map wherever they are. There's so many of them. Okay, so it's a mess. Let me show me the lakes related thing. Let's highlight all the matches on the map. So it's showing you all the highlighted inscriptions are related to lakes. Now I can filter it furthermore and show me all lake-related inscriptions in the 14th century, in the 10th century, and all that. So the ability to do analysis using GIS tools, the ease with which you can do the richness is amazing. Okay, you can do that as well. Copying inscriptions, how you use scanners to do that. Yeah, I showed a video of that, and I showed you a few models of that as well. And sharing information on places like Wikimedia, Facebook, Twitter, and all of that. These are the modern places people go to. They don't go and check the annual report of Indian epigraphy. They don't go and look at Ityasa Darshana volume 20 and all of that. There are these very, very powerful communication methods and tools that are free, most cases. You can reach out to lakhs of people and share information easily with them. So I thought that. So these are the 7 topics. There's many, many more, and all of these also take more time. Just to give you a bird's eye view of what all we do here. So I'll take questions if there are any now.
Panindra, can you take over for the further question and answers? If anybody has a question, please raise your hand.
Yes, Nagaraj Sharma has one. He's raising his hand.
Please.
Okay.
If you can unmute and speak, please go ahead, sir.
Good evening. And I congratulate Mythic Society in general and Mr. Uday Kumar in particular for such an endeavor. And you have brought the inscriptions and all the treasure to the common man's home itself. ಕನ್ನಡದ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಅನುಮಾನ ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ತಾವು ಬಹಳ ಸುಂದರವಾಗಿ ಈ ಡೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಗ್ರೆಗರಿಯನ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಪಂಚಾಂಗಕ್ಕೆ ಪರಿವರ್ತಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರೋದು ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ರಿ. ಅದು ಬಹಳ ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷ. ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ ಆ ಡೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಲಿಪ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ ಇಲ್ವೇ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾಸಾ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಾವು ಪರಿಚಯ ಮಾಡಿಸಿದ್ರಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ನನ್ನದು ಒಂದು ಸಲಹೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾಸಾ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂಚೆನೆ ಇವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಈ ತಿಥಿ ನಕ್ಷತ್ರ ಪಂಚಾಂಗದ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಆ ದಿವಸ ಗ್ರಹಣ ನಡೆದಿತ್ತೇ ಇಲ್ವೇ ಅಂತ ಸುಲಭವಾಗಿ ಗುರುತಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವತ್ತು ಅಮಾವಾಸ್ಯೆ ಅಥವಾ ಪೌರ್ಣಿಮೆ ಆಗಿತ್ತೇ ಇಲ್ವೇ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸಾಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವೇನ್ ನಾಸಾ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಅಮಾವಾಸ್ಯೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಪೌರ್ಣಿಮೆನಲ್ಲೂ ಗ್ರಹಣ ನಡೆಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ದಿನ ಗ್ರಹಣ ಅಮಾವಾಸ್ಯೆ ಅಂತ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಗ್ರಹಣ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಖಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲ,
ಅವರು ಗ್ರಹಣವನ್ನು ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಅಮಾವಾಸ್ಯೆ ಅಥವಾ ಪೌರ್ಣಿಮೆ ಇದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಸಂಭಾವ್ಯತೆಗಳು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದಷ್ಟೇ ಹೊರತು ಪ್ರತಿ ಅಮಾವಾಸ್ಯೆ ಗ್ರಹಣ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ ತಾವು ಎಸ್ಟಾಂಪ್ ಪೇಜ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಲೈಬ್ರರಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳನ್ನಾಗ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ದರ್ಶನಗಳಾಗ್ಲಿ ಜನ ನೋಡಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ರೀತಿ ಬಹಳ ಸರಳವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞತೆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಂಡಿದೀವಿ ಹೊರತು ಒಂದು ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅವುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಅಮೂಲ್ಯವಾದ ಸಹಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿವೆ. ಅವುಗಳನ್ನ
ಖಂಡಿತ.
ನಾವಿಂದು ಮರೆಯಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ
ಇಲ್ಲ ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ಸರ್, ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದ್ ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು, 100% ಸತ್ಯ. ಇವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ದಾಗೆ ವಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆನ್ ದಿ ಶೋಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಜೈಂಟ್ಸ್, ಅದು ಸತ್ಯ. ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ದು. ಹಾಗಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆ ಬೇಡ, ಹಳೇದೇ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಅನ್ನೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ತಪ್ಪು. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಮಾಲ್ಗಮೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ವಿಸ್ಡಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ,
ಖಂಡಿತ.
ಇಟ್ಸ್ ರಿಯಲ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್.
ಖಂಡಿತ.
ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ ತಾವು ಈ 3D ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಒಳ್ಳೊಳ್ಳೆ ಪ್ರಯೋಗಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಅದು ಮಿಥಿಕ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಕಿರೀಟಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಗರಿ ಇದ್ದಂಗಿದೆ. ಆ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೂಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಜನಸಾಮಾನ್ಯನೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಂಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಬೆಲೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ವಿಷಯ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬಹುದ್ರಿ?
ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಸರ್. ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆನ ನಾನು ಉತ್ತರ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಜನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಂಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು, ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮಂತ NGO ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ನಾ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಯನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ತಿರುಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸರ್, ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಶಾಸನದ ಕಲ್ಲು ನಿಮ್ ಮನೆ ಎದುರಿಗೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಊರಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು, ನೀವು ಹೋಗೋ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣದ ಇದದು ಆಧಾರ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಬೆಲೆ ಕಟ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವು?
ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿ.
ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ 1500 ಇಂದ 2000 ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಅದರ ಪ್ರತಿ ಮಾಡಬಲ್ಲರಿ ಒಂದು ಶಾಸನ ಕಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? 1500 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ನಿಮ್ಮಿಂದ ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯನಾ?
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಾಡಿಗೆಗ ಇಲ್ಲ
ಬಾಡಿಗೆಗಾನ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಕೊಂಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಾನ ಇರಬಹುದು.
ಅಯ್ಯೋ, ಅದು
ಖಂಡಿತ ತಾನೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ರೀತಿಯಾದ ನಿಜವಾದ, ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿದ ನೇರವಾದ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್. ನಾ ಬಳಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದ ಮೆಷಿನ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಸುಮಾರು 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿಗಳ ಬೆಲೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಅದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಬಹುಶಃ 8 ರಿಂದ 10 ವರ್ಷ ನೀವು ಬಳಸ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕನಿಷ್ಠ ಒಂದು 20-30 ಸಾವಿರ ಶಾಸನಗಳ ನೀವು ನಕಲು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ. 25 ಲಕ್ಷನ ಯಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಗಾಬರಿ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರ ಜನಗಳು. ಈಗ ಅದನ್ನ 30 ಸಾವಿರ ಶಾಸನಗಳಿಗೆ 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಖರ್ಚಾದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಶಾಸನಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀರಿ ಅಂತ ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಬಹುಶಃ 1000 ರಿಂದ 2000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಬೀಳತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ನಾನಿರೋ ಮನೆ, ನೀವಿರೋ ಮನೆ ಬೆಲೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು. ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಈ 25 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕಿಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಊರಿನ ಪರಂಪರೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಬೆಲೆ ಕಟ್ಟಕ್ ಹೊರಟಿದೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ತರ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನೋವಿನ ಮಾತಿದು. ಪುರಾತತ್ವ ಇಲಾಖೆಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ರಾಜ್ಯ ಹಣ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಹಣ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಯಾರ ಹಣ ಆದ್ರೂ 25 ಲಕ್ಷ ಹಣ ಅಂತಾರೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬಿಡಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕವಾದ ಸಂಘ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾದ ಕೆಲಸವೋ ಅಥವಾ ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಪರಿಚಯಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಕೇಳಿದೆ.
3 ಜನ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು.
ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ವ್ಯಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ದುಡ್ಡು ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗ್ಲೂ ವ್ಯರ್ಥ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಪರಂಪರೆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗಳು ಕೋಟಿ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಯಾವ ತರನೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಳಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ ನಾನೊಬ್ಬ ಛಾಯಾಗ್ರಾಹಕನಾಗಿ ಕೆಲವು ಪ್ರಯೋಗಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಮನುಷ್ಯನು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಚಿತ್ರಗಳನ್ನ ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ತೆಗೆಯೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ತೆಗಿಬಹುದಾದ ವಿಧಾನವೊಂದನ್ನು ತಮಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ತಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಅನುಮೋದಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಸಂತೋಷ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ವಸ್ತುವನ್ನಾಗ್ಲಿ ಫೋಟೋ ತೆಗಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಯಾಮೆರಾ ಮೇಲೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಫ್ಲಾಶ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ತೆಗೆದು ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆಗ ಆ ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಲೆಟರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಲೈಟ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಲೈಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಏನು ಕಾಣಿಸೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಟ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ತುಂಬಾ ಎಕ್ಸಾಜರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಸಂತೋಷ. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದು, ಇಂತಹ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಯಾಮ್ರಾನ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಫ್ಲಾಶ್ ಗನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಇಲ್ದೇನೆ ರಿಮೋಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ತರ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಮಾಮೂಲಿ ಫ್ಲಾಶ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೆಗೆಯೋ ಚಿತ್ರಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸ್ಫುಟವಾದ ಚಿತ್ರಗಳ ಅಕ್ಷರಗಳು ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಯೋಗದ ಮೂಲಕ ಕಂಡಿರೋದು. ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಅನುಮೋದಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯ ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೆಟರ್ ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಕ್ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗ್ಬಹುದು.
ಖಂಡಿತ. ಆದ್ರೆ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಚಿತ್ರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು 2Dನೇ, ಅದು 3D ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ನಾ ಏನ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ದೆ ನಿಮಗ್ ಚಿತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ನಿಮಗ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು 3 ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ತಿರುಗಿಸಿ ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾ ಝೂಮ್ ಪ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, ರೊಟೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದರ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾನು ನಿಜ ಜೀವನದ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ರೆಪ್ಲಿಕಾ ಮಾಡಬಲ್ಲೆ. ಅದು ತೋರಿಸ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು, ಮರದ ಮೇಲೆ, ಕಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಬಂದು ಚಿತ್ರ ತೆಗೆಯೋದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಬಂದು ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನ 3 ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕಾಪಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು. ನೀವ್ ಹೇಳೋ ವಿಧಾನ ನಿಜಾನೇ, ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಉದ್ದೇಶನ ಬೇರೆ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದು ನನ್ನ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಸಂಶೋಧಕನಾಗಿ ಅದರೊಳಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅಕ್ಷರಗಳ ಸ್ಫುಟತೆನೇ ಹೊರತು ಆ ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ 3 ಡೈಮೆನ್ಷನಲ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ನಂಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ಬೇಕಿದೆ ಸರ್.
ಎರಡನೇದು ನಾನು ಸಂಶೋಧಕನಾಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ ಈ ಅದು ವಿಚಾರ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಹಂಗೆ ಇದಾಯ್ತು.
ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಕ್ಷಮೆ ಇರ್ಲಿ, ಇತರರಿಗೂ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆರ್ಗನೈಸರ್ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಮನವಿ.
ವಾಪಸ್
ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿಂದ ಇತರರಿಗೂ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇತರರಿಗೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿ ಉದಯ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಸಂವಾದ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. ರಿತೇಶ್, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್.
ಸರ್, ಜಾವಾ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇಂದ ಸ್ಯಾಟಲೈಟ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದಾ ಸರ್? GIS ಆತರ ಜಾವಾ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇಂದ ನಾವು ಇನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಷನ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಚಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿ.
ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ಶಾಸನಕ್ಕೂ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದು
ಸರ್. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಯಾಟಲೈಟ್ಗೆ
ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೂ ನಿಮ್ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗೂ ಏನು ಇದು ಸಂಬಂಧ?
ಸರ್, ಅದು ಶಾಸನ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಶಾಸನ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಯಾಟಲೈಟ್ ಚಿತ್ರಗಳ ಅಗತ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಹಳ ಸುಲಭ. ಶಾಸನಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲಿವೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ದಾಖಲಾಗಿವೆ. ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ ಮಾತಿಗೆ ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಬಂದು ಶಾಸನ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯೋದಲ್ಲ, ಶಾಸನ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಿಸೋದು ತುಂಬಾ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಕೆಲಸ. ಇವತ್ತು ಮೋರಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ರಸ್ತೆ ಬದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಕೂತಿವೆ ಈ ಶಾಸನಗಳು. ನಮ್ಮ ಊರಿನ ಇತಿಹಾಸನ ಸಾರ್ತಾ ಇರೋವು. ಅವನ್ನ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಿಸೋ ಅಗತ್ಯವಿದೆ. ಈ ವಿಧಾನಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಬಳಸೋದು. ಪತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಶಾಸನ ಸಂರಕ್ಷಣೆಯನ್ನ ಸ್ಯಾಟಲೈಟ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಮಾಡೋ ಅಗತ್ಯವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸಾಧ್ಯವೂ ಇಲ್ಲ ಈ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ. ಊರು ಹೋಗಿ ವಿಚಾರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದ್ರೆ, ಜನಗಳಿಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಅಪ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರ್ದಿರೋದು ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನೀನ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ಯಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನ ಬೇಕು, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕೆಲಸಗಳಿಗೂ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅನಾಗತ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಕೂಡದು. ಓಕೆನಾ?
ಮುಂದಿನ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ರೆ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎನಿಬಡಿ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ದಿ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. Because of the time constraint, we may have to stop. 1 or 2 questions can be taken up. Dinesh, any students who want to ask, you can translate. Dinesh or Dr. Jyoti.
Sir, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
Sir, ನೀವು 3D ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಮಾಡೆಲ್ಸ್ ನ, ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು where can we access those 3D models?
Okay.
Is it available for public to to do research on it, or to look what inscriptions are there?
ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಿ. ನಿಮಗೆ 3D ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, ಆ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ನ ನೀವು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ ತಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ತಕ್ಕಾದ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ನಿಮಗ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾವ ತರ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಹೈ ರೆಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಬೇಕು. ಆ ಹೈ ರೆಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಅದು ಸರಿಯಾದ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ಗಳು ಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟೇಷನಲ್ ಅಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ದೇ ಇರೋ ಮೆಷಿನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಳಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಮತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇದೀರೋ ಅದನ್ನ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಕ್ಕಾದ ಮಾಡಲು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೂ ಸುಲಭ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ. ಅನಾವಶ್ಯಕವಾದ ಹೈ ರೆಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನು ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಒಂದು ರಫ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಯೋದಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಿ ನೇರವಾಗಿ. ನೀವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾವ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ.
Thank you. Okay, sir. Any other person has a question? Last. Sir, there are some students who are attending from Chintamani.
Wonderful.
PG students, due to one-sidedness, they were not able to ask question, but they enjoyed the talk. Pani, I think we are reaching to the end. So before we go to end, I have some information to share. Added to what Uday Kumar has shown applications, there is an application called Eclipse 2.0, Stellarium, Starwalk 2, right. Skyview, so many are there, which will also additionally add information, both what you called celestial knowledge and other what you called the locations, which location eclipse has happened, all those things. Kindly use. Of course, the whatever Nagaraj Sharma has questioned, the relevance of referring to the JPL or NASA's thing. I mean, it is not so simple because so many people have put a lot of effort in creating a catalog. Since it is NASA's, since it is not belonging to India, we should simply reject. Is not a correct thing. Even if I know that in Bangalore eclipse has happened, my great grandfather has a written book, but it is best to verify with the available resource anywhere in India. We should appreciate whoever has created a catalog. Make use best for uplifting our culture. With that intention only, Uday has also used all the NASA catalogs. If of course there are some catalogs written in India as well, which are still sitting in books. But as he said, old technologies should be converted into new technologies. People should work to develop some apps like this, whatever he has shown. That's the concluding remarks. Any final remarks, Uday, please go ahead and we can conclude.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Srinath. Yes, I didn't touch on that part. Many inscriptions also carry nakshatra on that, the day, the nakshatra on that particular day. Okay, and with software like Stellarium, and especially with Stellarium, now that it has Hindu names and all of that, constellations and stars and all of that, we can actually simulate the star sky on that day and verify was the nakshatra correct and all of that.
Yes.
One part of the story, and I'll add one incident here. One of the inscriptions that we worked on, which is actually in the town of Sarjapur, is a total lunar eclipse record. And the beauty of that, this one, which I did not realize what was the beauty of that eclipse. Normally, people ignore lunar eclipse. They say, no, nothing great and all. What is the beauty of it is the eclipse sets around, I think around, 4 o'clock in the morning. The sky is still very dark. And, the covering of the moon continually goes on till, say, sunrise. At the time of sunrise, the moon is up in the sky and disappears over 1 hour. And then it's gone for some time and then slowly starts to reappear on the night sky. Now, please imagine this one, the coincidence of sunrise, total solar, total lunar eclipse and all of that. It's a beautiful sight. Come daybreak, the moon vanishes and then it appears. I can only understand this if I see the simulation on Stellarium.
Yes,
Stellarium gives you a beautiful way to see that.
PG Physics wanted to say something, maybe 30 seconds. PG Physics, you wanted to say something. Is that maybe auditorium?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, please go ahead, Dr. Dinesh.
It was very much interested, and all of our students who have learned all the inputs that we have received at this end. So the question is, some of the inscriptions are nearby to Chintamani and all those things. And our
okay, Uday Kumar.
Yes.
So if the student want to upload some of the things, and that can be shared offline also, quite helpful to us. And another one is how to confirm what exact period it is there with some physical techniques or something like that. It could be more informative.
Okay, right. So yeah, please contact Srinath. He'll give me a number. I'll work with you to put it up on a map. Second part of your story, how do we collaborate this? Essentially writing, that's something I have not touched at all today. The form and shape of characters change time to time. The way we wrote Kha today is different from the way it was written in 1500, is different from the way it was written in 1000 AD, it is different from the way it was written in 500 AD. We know the forms and the shapes very well. So the date on an inscription can also be collaborated by the shape and form of the characters the inscription is made up of. That's how you identify fake fake inscriptions as well. Sometimes, somebody would have written a certain date on the stone, but the shape and form of the characters don't match with that time period. So we instantly identify it to be a fake that way. So 2 ways, the writing, shape and form of the characters, the date written on that, and also mention of places, mention of people, all of that information is collectively, they must all match up. That's how you date an inscription.
Just one more explanation to the 1 second. Dinesh, 1 second. Just to add some information, what eclipse related thing. There is a beautiful book written by Dr. B.S. Shailaja on Chintamani Raghunathachari, his contributions. He was in Madras Observatory, and he has written a caveat or whatever procedures how to observe eclipses in India. One of the eclipse which was observed from Guntur, which was the motivating drive to detect helium. So it was under his leadership. I mean, that book is there. I request the students to, that's only 100 and 140 rupees book. Please take that book. Many of our people in ancient people, they were very good at in calculating or computations of eclipses. Dinesh, if anything is there, please add.
Yes, sir. The inscription ತೋರಿಸಿರಿ ಸರ್ ತಾವು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಸಂಬಂಧ. ಈಗ ಅದರ ನೇಮ್ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ 1100 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ನೀವು.
ಹೌದು.
ಸೊ ಆದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು ಕೆಂಪೇಗೌಡರಲ್ವಾ 500 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ.
ಅಲ್ಲ
How come that 1100 year ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಉಳಿತು.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದೇನಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ತುಂಬಾ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆನೇ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಿ. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಅಂತ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದ ಊರಿತ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ 900ರಿಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು 1536-37 ಕಾಲದವರೆಗೂ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ 6-7 ಉಲ್ಲೇಖಗಳು ಸಿಗತ್ವೆ ನಮಗೆ ಶಾಸನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ. ಆದರೆ ಕೆಂಪೇಗೌಡರು ಊರಿನ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾದ ಪಾತ್ರ ವಹಿಸಿದರು. ಕೋಟೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿದರು, ಪೇಟೆ ಪ್ರದೇಶ ಅಂತ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಊರೇ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಸುಳ್ಳು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಶಾಸನಗಳೇ ಆಧಾರವಾಗಿದೆ. ಜನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾನಪದದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಗ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಪದ ಬದಲಾಗಿ ಊರು ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಅಂತಾನೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಈ ಐತಿಹಾಸಿಕ ಆಧಾರಗಳು ಬೇರೆ ಕಥೆ ಹೇಳತ್ವೆ, ಜನಗಳ ಬಾಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡ್ಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅಗತ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಆಧಾರಗಳಿವೆ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು ಅಂತ ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತ. ಒಂದು ಅಂಡ್ Srinath, you said something. The eclipses part. Today, while I mentioned eclipses, Indian inscriptions also record some other occultations, not necessarily eclipses.
Correct.
Yeah. So those also can be dated and verified this way.
Transits also, Venus transits, transits alone. Indians have done great work. I mean, one of the example I told you is Chintamani Raghunathacharya. Because I mentioned some people from Chintamani, they are joining. Even though he's not from Chintamani, he was in Madras.
Okay.
His name is Chintamani Raghunathacharya. I request students to read about him. I think Pani, you can take over and conclude, sir. I think if you permit.
Sure.
Pani, are you there? Or Supriya,
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Please conclude.
Thank you so much for your talk today, Uday sir, and thank you so much for answering so many questions. Which it was really a lot of confusion we had before listening to you regarding how you make the 3D inscriptions and regarding this Stellarium and app and all. That was very informative, and now with those apps we can actually confirm what the nakshatras that were there a long time ago. Yeah, it's like we are doing coordination with ancient Indian astronomy and with the modern technology to use it in a viable way. Thank you so much for the talk, and I would like to conclude this talk by ending this session.
Thank you
so much.
Anybody who wants to, please contact Mythic Society or us, Creative Team. We will drive forward. It will be a good learning exercise. Thank you, Uday. We will be concluding.
Thank you.